welcome to another Ashram Talks session. Today, we're going to talk about the concept of breath and breathing, not just as something that we can control, but something that can actually become meaningful in our spiritual practice. And we're also going to look at how different approaches can lead us down different paths depending on our intentions. But ultimately, the takeaway that I think we're going to look into today is that if we have strong intentions, something even as simple as breathing can become a meaningful part of our spiritual practice. And this is something that we can apply to all of our actions and all of our activities. So to join us today to discuss verse 29, we have Krsnacandra Das. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Sienna G, and also all the audience. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all of you, and I'm really hoping that my Guru Maharaj gives me the mercy to just imbibe the topic and to disperse all the realization and knowledge. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And our title today is The Discipline of Love, the Yoga of Devotion. So we're really looking forward to exploring the topic in the verse. Whenever you're ready, we can get started for today.
I'm ready now. Thank you so much. I'm going to start with a prayer called the Mangalacharn, and after we finish that, we will move on to the verse. We'll speak to the verse in Sanskrit, and we'll get right on to the discussion. Thanks. Om Jnana Timidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Avandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Dvitam Tam Sajivam Sahadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Dehivam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Utapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Brishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindaya Tulasi Deviyai Priyavai Keshavasa Krishna Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Vanchakalpa Trubhyas Chakripa Sindhubhya Eva Chapatitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tonight we will be discussing Bhagavad-gita Chapter 4, verse 29. Apane juvati pranam prane panam tatapare prana panagati rudva pranayama parayana apare niyataraha pranan praneshu juvati. And there are even others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, and they practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Some of them, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. Breathing is the most basic and yet most essential function we have. It's a basic function shared by millions of other forms of life. It's something we don't have to think about, and yet, in this human form of life, we can consciously alter our breathing. For example, we can hold our breath when we swim underwater. And when I practice kendo, or the Japanese martial art of fencing, I practice diaphragmatic breathing, breathing from the diaphragm, in order to maximize my lung capacity, to optimize the quality and quantity of my performance. There's a memorable line in the 1986 film, The Karate Kid Part 2. Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel, when you feel life out of focus, always return to the basic of life, breathing. No breath, no life. Even a Hollywood martial arts movie recognizes something the yogis have taught for thousands of years, that our breath and our consciousness are deeply connected. But Bhagavad-gita Chapter 4, verse 29, invites us to go even deeper. Krishna isn't merely teaching us about relaxation or stress reduction. The yogi regulates the life airs as part of a greater sacrifice, a means of bringing the mind under control so it can ultimately be offered to Krishna. The mechanics of pranayama can be learned almost anywhere today, in books, classes, or online, but Krishna reveals the spiritual purpose behind such practices in the Bhagavad Gita. The act of offering the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice, is explained by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. And the act of offering these sacrifices to Krishna is in our Guru Parampara, otherwise known as our disciplic succession, passed down from guru to disciple since time immemorial. Aside from the spiritual benefit, this method of breathing can greatly physical relief. Stress and anxiety relief, improved focus, better sleep quality are just a few of the mental and emotional benefits. And its physical health benefits include enhanced lung capacity, cardiovascular support, and even better digestion and immunity. Pranayama was the likely proverbial cornerstone of the sacrifices performed by the infamous demon king Hiranyakashipu. The first two verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3 say, the demonic king Hiranyakashipu wanted to be unconquerable and free from old age and dwindling of the body. He wanted to gain all the yogic perfections like anima and lagima, to be deathless, and to be the only king of the entire universe, including Brahmaloka. In the valley of Mandara Hill, Hiranyakashipu began performing his austerities by standing with his toes on the ground, keeping his arms upward and looking toward the sky. This position was extremely difficult, but he accepted it as a means to attain perfection. None of these austerities could have been done without breath control. It is a simple practice that is spiritually neutral. It's a tool Hiranyakashipu used to get immense yogic discipline, to pursue dominion and immortality. By contrast, the devotees use whatever discipline they have in pursuit of rendering loving service to Krishna. And Hiranyakashipu also had important knowledge of Jiva Tattva, or the nature of the soul. He could eloquently explain the immortality of the soul to others, as is evidenced when he consoled his grieving relatives over the death of his brother, the demon Hiranyaksha. But when his own son Prahlad became a devotee of Krishna, he became consumed by anger, hatred, possessiveness. He knew the philosophy, but he had not surrendered to Krishna, the Supreme Person. You see, knowledge alone is not enough. Hiranyakashipu understood the soul is eternal. He could lecture others on Jiva Tattva, but he couldn't offer himself to Krishna. His sacrifices were for his own power. His austerities were for his own immortality. His knowledge, therefore, never blossomed into bhakti. Hiranyakashipu enjoyed dominion and longevity for a little while, but ultimately could not escape his own mortality. All the conditions of power he stated, including not dying in the day or the night, not in the air or on the ground, it didn't prevent Krishna in the form of Nrsingadev to remove him from tyranny, even while completely honoring Hiranyakashipu's long laundry list of conditions where he was immune from death. We can use pranayama to extend our lives, but we can't use it to be immortal. It's not the breathing itself that saves us. It's offering ourselves to Krishna. It's the sacrificing for Krishna and not for ourselves. Breath control becomes meaningful when it becomes an offering and devotion. Krishna will always remember even the most basic act of sacrificing our breath for him. As we read earlier in Bhagavad-gita Chapter 2, verse 40, where Krishna said, "In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear." Hiranyakashipu's ultimate undoing was to kill his own son, Prahlad Maharaj, for refusing to acknowledge his father's dominion, but instead recognizing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus has dominion over the spiritual world and the innumerable material universes. While Hiranyakashipu performed austerities to gain his yogic powers, Prahlad Maharaj put his breathing to a much better use. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 8, verse 34 says, Prahlad Maharaj loudly chanted the holy name of Lord Nrsingadev. May Lord Nrsingadev, roaring for his devotee Prahlad Maharaj, protect us from all fear of dangers created by stalwart leaders in all directions through poison, weapons, water, fire, air, and so on. May the Lord cover their influence by his own transcendental influence. May Nrsingadev protect us in all directions and in all corners, above, below, within, and without. And just as Hiranyakashipu's austerities for power wouldn't have been possible without controlling his breathing, Prahlad Maharaj utilized his own breath to chant the holy names of God. Spiritual practices are not ends in themselves. They are meant to awaken loving service to Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:15:1, Krishna says, "My dear Uddhava, the mystic perfections of yoga are acquired by a yogi who has conquered his senses, steadied his mind, conquered the breathing process, and fixed his mind on me." Prahlad Maharaj certainly had his mind completely fixed upon Krishna as he endured severe torture because of his father. Prahlad was thrown from a cliff, trampled by elephants, bitten by poisonous snakes, exposed to other deadly poison, thrown into fire, attacked with weapons, subjected to black magic, starved, and cast into the ocean. And Prahlad was not only physically fine, but he was also fearless. Imagine enduring each one of the tribulations I just mentioned without being afraid. After Krishna as Nrsingadev saved Prahlad, he said, "O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence. For wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories, and activities. That's in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.43. Some yogis regulate their breath to steady the mind. Prahlad Maharaj had something even more powerful. His mind was already resting at Krishna's lotus feet. His breathing didn't save him. His remembrance of Krishna did. Hiranyakashipu controlled his breath, but his heart remained like stone. Prahlad offered his heart, and Krishna took care of everything else. Prahlad Maharaj wasn't merely a disciplined yogi, he's a bhakti yogi. Love is his only driving force. In Bhagavad-gita 259, Krishna tells Arjuna the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The higher taste is the key, and that's Krishna himself. How can we best emulate the example of Prahlad in this current age? The answer is both simple and highly effective. Harer nama eva kevalam, kalo nasti eva gatir anyata. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative. There is no alternative. There is no alternative to the holy name. The holy name of the Lord. This is quoted in both Brihan Naradiya Purana and multiple times in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srimad Bhagavatam also says in 12.3.51, My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. It also says in 11.5.32 that in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He introduced the Sankirtan movement, the chanting and the singing of the holy names. He also introduced us to 8 verses called the Sri Shikshastakam, which encapsulates the spiritual journey to pure devotion of Krishna. One of the verses starts with Trinad Api Sunichena. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind. Thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Humility, tolerance, and steadiness. A yogi trains himself to endure heat and cold. A devotee becomes more tolerant than a tree because of love. The discipline comes naturally because of the love. In another verse, Na danam, na janam, na sundarim. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. And this is vairagya, or renunciation. The yogi struggles to renounce. Mahaprabhu simply doesn't want those things. Love has replaced them. Now, on to the final verse, verse 8. Ashlishya na vapadaratam pinashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotuva yatatata va vitatatu lampato vat prana natastu saeva napara. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Every yogic system seeks steadiness of mind. Mahaprabhu demonstrates steadiness even under divine separation. This is astonishing. Even when Krishna appears absent, love continues. That is a higher steadiness than merely sitting motionless in the lotus position. In Bhagavad-gita 4:34, Krishna advises Arjuna, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the dam leading to an ocean of ras of love for Krishna, available through the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He was the Shiksha Guru, or instructing spiritual master, of all his associates, especially the 6 Goswamis. That intense love or prem for Krishna was transmitted to the 6 Goswamis and their own disciples, allowing us all to sample this love through the Guru Parampara, or disciplic succession. In all the lives of these exalted devotees of Krishna, we see their example of offering the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice, as stated in Bhagavad-gita 4:29. Their entire lives were in loving sacrifice, and the discipline of a seasoned Hatha yogi came natural to them because of their love for Krishna. I will speak a little bit about Raghunath Das Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was born in extreme material abundance. His parents were very wealthy, and he had a very beautiful wife. Nonetheless, he wished to leave it all behind to become a renunciate and chant the holy names of Krishna and experience the divine love. He barely slept or ate. He spent almost every moment chanting and remembering Radha and Krishna. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada repeatedly described him as the ideal renounced devotee because his devotion was completely sincere and spontaneous. It was not based upon dry discipline, and yet his discipline to remain a renounced devotee, expressing his nishtha, or steady love, came naturally through his love. It was not artificial or rehearsed. Sanatan Goswami abandoned a highly lucrative ministerial career in order to serve Mahaprabhu. He was originally the minister to the Nawab of Bengal. In addition to renouncing wealth and position, Sanatan Goswami lost his freedom as well. He was thrown in jail by the Nawab, the local ruler, and yet he managed to escape into the dangerous forests of Bihar, highly motivated by his desire to meet Mahaprabhu, who had been in Varanasi. Sanatan Goswami traveled incognito as a Muslim mendicant or a darvish. It was a sign of his humility, but also his ability to handle any difficult situation he faced. We know him as one of the 6 Goswamis, a great sadhu. In that time period, Sanatan Goswami displayed remarkable resourcefulness. Modern fictional spies like Jason Bourne or Cassian Andor seem impressive, yet Sanatan Goswami employed all of his intelligence simply to reach Mahaprabhu and render service. He also endured a very painful case of scabies, and he deliberately walked to Yameshvaratota over the burning, scorched sands, scorched by the sun and the beach, to avoid accidentally touching the servants of Lord Jagannath. There are yogis capable of very skilled breath control who have this skill due to pure practice and discipline. But For Sanatan Goswami, all the discipline and skills he needed to succeed came to him because of his profound love, prema, for Krishna and Mahaprabhu. One modern success story of love through sacrifice is none other than Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. His Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, instructed him to preach in the Western world. Srila Prabhupada left India when he was 69 years old to fulfill his Guru Maharaj's instruction, as well as fulfill Mahaprabhu's prophecy that in every town and village on this earth, the chanting of my name will be heard. That was stated in the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya-lila 4:126. And Srila Prabhupada arrived in America with only $20. Eventually he made disciples and brought the holy name of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra all over the world, even to places like the Soviet Union or Iran. He went to those places personally. Srila Prabhupada did not sleep more than 2 hours a day. He spent his days preaching, giving lectures, leading kirtan, teaching basic skills that newly minted devotees wouldn't know, like how to cook, how to offer food, worship deities, even how to put on devotional clothing, and of course, translating books. He started the lion's share of his divine service at age 69. And many people don't even live that long, and many more live to age 69 and see their most productive, fulfilling time is long behind them. And Srila Prabhupada appeared like a highly disciplined yogi, having 2 hours of sleep at best. But his amazing activities were all dictated by love, and every day, the entirety of every day in his life for those last 12 years were a whole sacrifice in of itself. When I first met my own Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj, I was absolutely amazed. I first met him when he was 88 years old. He gave lectures twice a day, each one lasting almost an hour. He traveled worldwide, going from city to city every few days for almost 3 months at a time. And now I'm 47 years old, almost half that age, and I can't imagine keeping to such a schedule myself. Each day, my Guru Maharaj wouldn't take food or water until reading at least one chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, one chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and other texts. He spoke many languages such as Telugu, Tamil, Bengali, Hindi, Sanskrit, English, and of course, Oriya. For 3 years, I traveled with my Guru Maharaj for months at a time, and he was always impeccable in his steadiness, always devout, always kind, always loving, always inquiring if we were well, and always asked me if I took prasadam. Guru Maharaj said to his disciples that they were not ordinary pujaris, and to rescue one person from Maya, one may need to spend spiritual blood. And that's very similar to what his own Guru Maharaj said, that in this world, we spend hundreds of gallons of blood to bring a person out of the clutches of Maya. That was said by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's another act of sacrifice. So the seva of my Gurudev and Param Gurudev was sacrificial, non-institutional or ecclesiastical. Throughout this verse, Krishna speaks of offering the breath as sacrifice. That's in 429. But after looking at Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, my own Guru Maharaj, I think we can understand that Bhagavad-gita 429 is pushing us towards something much greater than breathing exercises. Breath control may steady the mind, but love for Krishna captures the heart. A yogi may regulate his breathing for many reasons, for health, longevity, mystic perfection, or peace of mind. A yogi, a devotee, on the other hand, uses that same breath for something indefinitely higher, to glorify Krishna, to chant his holy name, to serve his devotees, and to dedicate every moment of life to him. Every breath we take is a gift from Krishna. Bhagavad-gita 4:29 invites us not merely to control that gift, but to offer it back to its giver. And if we can do that, even imperfectly, then every breath becomes yajna, every word becomes kirtan, and every day becomes an opportunity to deepen our loving relationship with Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Krsnacandra Prabhu. It was really inspiring, how you kind of shared a little bit more about your experiences with your own spiritual teacher, your own Guru Maharaj. And also bringing up the example of Srila Prabhupada, of course, right? You're absolutely right that I think most people at an age like 69, we would definitely assume that our kind of most significant or productive years are behind us at that point. And his example absolutely shows otherwise. So those are really inspiring reminders. I think thinking about this verse, and, it's talking a lot about the practice of pranayama, maybe kind of again as a practice utilized in yoga, either to increase longevity or to make some spiritual advancement. But I really love how you're reframing that. Thank you also for reminding us what you said. Each breath is a gift, right? And so we have to offer that, to Krishna and to our spiritual practice. So my question, sorry, after all that, getting to my question.
That's okay.
Yeah. So as individuals who may be aspiring in bhakti yoga, is our goal really to kind of take up this practice of pranayama as a tool? Could that be a tool for us? Or, kind of maybe our goal, or, do we have a different goal, right? To really kind of try to offer and sacrifice, all of our activities, right? Almost as a lifestyle. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think I understand. So pranayama itself, I mean, it's not the goal. It's a tool. It's the means to an end. So we could take that. I know, for instance, my Guru Maharaj, he studied Ayurvedic medicine, and he put a lot of things to use. For example, thoughts of like the teachings of wellness and how to eat the right foods. And he was always like wanting to eat healthy foods, but he wanted to do that in order to have longevity to do all the seva that he could do in this life. And I can think of, like, for example, he used to walk everywhere. He would not want to use like a rickshaw or any, because his idea was that I can't spend this money because this is for Krishna. This is for the spreading Krishna consciousness. This is not for me to take a rickshaw to get from place to place faster and be more comfortable. So I had another example. I'm just
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but so basically, he used all these principles so that he could stay with us longer, and he did. He lived to age 96, and he traveled the world until he was at least 92 years old, and he used it. And it wasn't just like traveling for pleasure; it was to lecture, to inspire others, and he really, his whole life was basically sacrifice, and every breath was that sacrifice. I mean, in some, I would really go so far as to say that he really did kind of embody that that verse, the verse we just discussed, 429. I'm sorry I didn't even mention this in my talk, but of course, Srila Haridas Thakur, the Namacharya, he chanted pretty much day and night, and he used his breath to do that. And they beat him up just like the father of the father of Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu. They put him through so much, but he just utilized the breath of life to stay calm and to stay focused on Krishna. So, that's ultimately what I take from that.
Yeah, those are very inspiring examples. And I think you're really highlighting how there may be all of these tools like in out there, right? That can help us. But I guess we should focus on, utilizing them in the
Yeah,
right way, right? Like not losing sight of the goal and maybe not focusing only on the means, without thinking about the end, right? Like I can learn about this or
yeah,
I can try to utilize this tool, but why, right? Like what is
yeah.
my long-term goal here?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the last few words in this verse is it's about sacrifice, and sacrifice for another, and that is for God. It's for Krishna. So, I mean, many times we can and I hate to say it, you can go to like a yoga studio and you can learn all these principles. You can even learn how to hold your breath for 10 minutes at a time, perhaps. But why do we do these things? Where we can learn to just apply all these principles to live a very long life and stay lucid and stay very healthy and mobile. But again, why are we doing these things? And if we do it just simply to live longer and just to enjoy life, then I mean, ultimately, then you go back to chapter 2 of the Bhagavad-gita, where Krishna explains that we go through life after life as different forms, as if like you're changing your clothes, and then I mean, and that meaning just kind of loses itself. But then on the other hand, you have chapter 2 verse 40 saying, Krishna will not forget anything you've done, because there's no loss or diminution. So if you make this act of sacrifice as stated in the verse, then Krishna will never forget that, and you are on this path, you're making progress, you will never lose that progress. You'll eventually, it's going to lead to something substantial, and that is the eternal relationship between us and with Radha and Krishna.
Yeah, that was very inspiring. I love that positive outlook, right?
Mhm.
I talked to Chandramukhi about this a lot in her class, but I
Yeah.
think sometimes the rhetoric is a little bit like this material world is so terrible and it's going to be
Mm.
really hard and like maybe after a million lifetimes and there
Mm.
also is like I don't know, there's significance there, but I really love
Mhm.
kind of you sharing this outlook of,
Yeah.
the progress we make is not something that goes unnoticed, right? Or
Yeah.
not unnoticed, but you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. And I just want to say something about what you just said, like, oh, the material world, it's just so terrible. And, I can't do this now. I went through this myself, I went through this, like a lot of upheaval in my young life. My parents went through a terrible divorce. We had a lot of family wealth, generational wealth that was just all went up in smoke. And I kept saying to myself, you know what, this is just too hard. Let me just put everything on hold, and things are going to get better. I can chant better, I can do more service. But actually things got worse and worse. And I mean, to some point it became almost impossible for me to go on. But at some point I did turn a corner. I mean, I think I mentioned this in a talk one day. It was like, I went to repair an Indian instrument, and I saw this gentleman. He was giving pranams to his music guru. And I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that's what I used to do with my Guru Maharaj. I just and then miraculously, I just kind of went back on track. So yes, the material world is this. horrible place. It's a forest. I think it's in the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. They talk about the material world is this like kind of mysterious forest capable of being very dangerous, and that's what it is. So we have to but we have to just strike while the iron's hot. Like in my situation, I was very inspired by my Guru Maharaj. And when you get that inspiration, you have to ride that wave and you can't be afraid. I mean, of course, we can't just be robots and not be afraid at all. You're going to feel that fear, but you have to kind of process that better and just say, okay, I'm afraid, but I'm going to a better place because I have the knowledge, I have the love, and I have the relationship with the devotees, with my teachers, and with Radha and Krishna, and everything is going to be okay, and I'm gonna make it.
I love that. You need to write a book about your life. Side note.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
but yeah, no, that's very inspiring. It reminds me, Bhakti Bimal Harijan Swami, who is a Colombian disciple of Srila Prabhupada, says something like that. Like
Mm,
he says, like sometimes when we might open a faucet, especially in developing countries, like maybe just a little bit of water is coming out, right? But sometimes you open it and maybe there's like this big stream of water coming out, right? So he says
mm.
like something that sounds better in Spanish, but it's something
Yeah,
like when a
right.
lot of water is coming out of that faucet, like you need to
Mhm.
take advantage, right? Like fill up your
Yes,
bucket because maybe at another
yes.
point, might just be like a few drops.
Right.
Yeah.
That
And I,
that
yeah.
yeah. That is absolutely true. Yes, we have
Mhm.
to. Yeah, once that spigot is open, you have to like have your container ready, and if you don't have a container, just start drinking.
Yeah, like just one last example that's in this line, but like I was also reading an article and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was saying something like, if we don't really feel identified with something, like we're not going to take a risk to obtain that thing. But
Right.
when you feel identified with something, right? Like you're kind of willing to do everything to like take that jump and
Yeah.
obtain that thing, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, but I just really appreciate you sharing again that positive outlook.
Yeah.
Sometimes things might be hard, but we can turn that corner.
Yes.
And your reminder too that there are all of these tools out there, but I think we can't lose sight of asking ourselves, okay, why are we doing this, right? Like, what is my end goal?
Right. And I think the important thing is something brought us here, We're all here right now, like you and I are here, and people watching this, they're here because something brought them here. It may not like necessarily be you or me that inspired them, but something gave them that spark prior. And they have to kind of be in touch with that and just never lose sight of that. And whenever they have new inspiration, they should keep that in their hearts and just never let go of that. And just that's nishta, that's steadiness, and just never forget it, always remember it, and it will definitely be with you forever. I mean, we go through periods of separation. The devotees, the personal associates of Krishna, they went through separation. The gopis, the Vrajavasis, they went through separation, but it's not forever. And like I said in the lecture, Mahaprabhu, he said that he may leave me brokenhearted by not appearing before me, but he's still there. He's ready, and he's still there. And we have to eventually develop that, and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's and we see that in I mean, like Prabhupada being brave, leaving his country of India, coming to New York, going all over the world. Ultimately, we see it in Krishna's personal associates, whether they be Mahaprabhu, like the Raghunath Das Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, risking their personal freedom and safety, but also like the gopis. they're just, they want to see Krishna in the middle of the night, and it's not like appropriate, but they abandon all fear, and eventually we have to get to that point, and we have that capacity. It's there, you know. We just we unlock it through the process.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, really inspiring to hear from your insights and your experiences. We
Mhm.
also have, oh, yeah, continue.
Oh no, I didn't have anything else. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, yeah. And we also have a comment from Colleen,
Sure.
who always joins us as well. We really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but Colleen says, wonderful class. Thank you, Krsnacandra. Loved listening to the pastimes. Looking forward to questions and comments. Yeah, so thank you as well for being here with us, Colleen, and for sharing this conversation always.
It's my absolute pleasure. I look forward to coming back here many more times. I'm just very grateful for the opportunities. Thank you
Yeah,
so
we're
much.
very grateful to have you. So thank you. And thank you to everyone who's listening to this discussion. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Jai Hare Krishna.